find out from you, what is the genesis of PricePally? What personal experiences led you to establish PricePally? And how did you identify the gap in the food supply chain?
All right, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here, and thanks for having me. PricePally started 2019 officially, but a year before that, I was in China, and for the Alibaba Founder Program, and they took us around many technology companies, and there was a particular one called Pinduoduo, which is one of China's biggest e-commerce platforms that enables group buying and all of that. And they were critically solving that farm-to-table issue, which is like, there were several inefficiencies that they had taken out of the way in China that made food really affordable. And before then, I always, it was an obvious problem that we had in Nigeria. It's still a problem. And so that kind of inspired me to look at what we have and see what was possible. So that pretty much led to the problems. But on a personal note as well, I got married in 2018. We're young couples. My wife and I would go to the market together, and it was always a very frustrating experience. We were either coming back angry, frustrated, and we always kept data as well, data of our expenses and things like that. And the expense on food was just not predictable. If you spend 200K this month, you're spending 500K next month. So all of that problem just got me interested and started looking into it and looking at how we could solve it. And today, we've really gone far in solving that problem. And hopefully, we'll eventually be able to critically solve it for many urban cities in Nigeria and Africa.
Thank you very much. My next question is to Deina. So we are moving from B to C, Luther solving the challenge of access to food for consumers. Now let's move to B to B. Deina, please share with us your origin story, the origin of Agriarche. I know you're smiling, but share with us the origin of Agriarche. What inspired you to start Agriarche? And how did your background in fintech influence your approach to digitizing agriculture?
Okay, good morning, everybody. My name is Deina, and I'm happy to be here back in Port Harcourt, sharing my experience. And thank you, Naona, for inviting me. So my background is actually in pharmacy, right? And it was a lot of things. I can't pinpoint one thing that really inspired me. It was a combination of so many things. And I'll start from when we were in school and we were about to graduate, and our course rep decided to do a field trip to pharmaceutical companies.
Sorry to interrupt. Please share with us what school you went to.
I went to Uniport. I studied pharmacy in Uniport. So we went to Lagos for a field trip. We were invited to WHO-approved pharmaceutical companies, Swifer, Emzor, and the likes. And then I saw they had a unique challenge amongst all of them. They were struggling with their procurement processes. They couldn't have access raw commodities or raw materials as they ought to. But as a young girl, I was just inquisitive and very curious. I asked the questions and I left it there. From there to here, it's very far. I left it and I worked in the hospital. I worked as a medical practitioner. I was in the community pharmacy. I wanted to be in industry, but the opportunities were not there. So again, I met a pharmacist when we started discussing. He was into fintech, and that sparked an interest, right? Because I knew maths at that point, and which is very serious. I'm happy that young people are listening to us. Sometimes it looks like maths and English are very relevant, but they are the basis of everything that we do today. I tell you, I kid you not, if you know maths, you are far ahead. Just hold it very tight, right? So, and on the basis of that, I became a data analyst, like just reviewing data on how they need to phase into a state to build their fintech structure, etc. And this was so many years ago, about 7 years ago. And then I was employed to be an intern in that firm. Lo and behold, the firm was going to work for Dangote, and they were going to provide fintech services to farmers in Zamfara. Now, bear in mind that I was new, I was a pharmacist, and Zamfara was already a red zone, so nobody wanted to go. But then I jumped into the opportunity because I was looking for a challenge. And that was what kick-started my journey, because I stayed in Zamfara for about 4 months. I disguised, while everybody wanted to be in the office and be a boss, I worked with the farmers. I stayed there with them for months. From there, I went to Kebbi State. I stayed for months as well. And then I went to Benue State. So I had the first-hand experience of the pain points that those farmers had been experiencing. And then, tailoring our fintech solutions for the farmers exposed my mind to so many things that have become me today. So yeah, that's my story. Thank you.
Fantastic story. Please a round of applause. Fantastic story. So please welcome Mr. Zigha Ayibakuro. He's finally here. Zigha, we were eagerly waiting for your arrival. So I'll give once I get to Mr. Zigha with his questions, I'll give a brief background of Mr. Zigha's bio so that we get to know him better. Now, Mr. Patrick, the investor, venture capitalist, and strategic politician.
Only one.
There's a very important question, and I think I discussed this with you yesterday. What criteria do you employ to evaluate the viability? I'm asking you this question because it's very important. A lot of us are here trying to set up businesses. A lot of us are here trying to get into a sector, but we don't understand what a viable business looks like. That's why I'm asking Patrick this question. What criteria do you employ to evaluate the viability of agri-tech startups for investment? How do you gauge their potential for scalability and impact? And how can we use this knowledge to transform businesses, particularly in the Niger Delta?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Port Harcourt. Thank you very much, Naomi, for that question. Basically, having worked with a lot of investors across different regions in the world, in Africa, Europe, Asia, there are 5 core pillars that investors actually look at if they are to invest in your business. And, unlike when after COVID that investors were just dishing out, writing checks anyhow, this time they are very, very stringent when it comes to writing checks. So first thing they do is, what problem are you solving? Are you actually solving a critical pain point in that sector that you're involved in? Like, for instance, like the Agri-Tech. Are you solving is it production, is it processing, is it logistics, is it distribution, is it financing? So they look at the problem that you're solving. Is that problem really a pain point in that particular sector? That's one of the first things that they look at. Then, secondly, they look at scalability. Can your business scale, is it adaptable? The problem you are solving or the solution that you are providing for that particular problem, is it scalable? Is it adaptable? If someone in Port Harcourt is actually, if the solution is actually working in Port Harcourt, can it also work in Bayelsa? Can it work in Akwa Ibom? Can it work in Ghana? Can it work in Kenya? So they look at the adaptability of that particular solution. And then they now tailor it down to the technology that you are even deploying to solve that solution itself. Is it smart? Is it effective? Can people in the rural area actually use it? Just like you're trying to create a solution for somebody, a household farmer, and you know that she cannot navigate the smartphones. So is your solution tailored to her in such a way that she can just dial like a code and she gets access to a particular services? Then another thing investors also look at is the team. Does the team have the competence to drive this particular project? So you are a co-founder, or you're a founder, you have a co-founder, you have a CTO, you have a CEO. Do you have a team that can actually help you drive success when investors actually write a check for you? Then also, apart from that, if you ever have an opportunity to sit with an investor, the first question they ask you is, what is the most important thing in your business? Or what is it that you need? And a lot of people will tell you they need money, but they'll tell you that it's 4-letter word, and that 4-letter word is TEAM, which is your team. So even if I've seen a lot of startups that raise millions of dollars and in less than 2 years, they shut down. Because why? they do not have the right team to drive the success of that particular project. Then the last thing is the success metrics. So people want to look at the impact metrics rather of that particular solution that you are doing. And once that impact metric is measurable in a broader light, definitely they write you a check. So those are the 5 core pillars that investors actually look at whenever you are pitching to them. They look at those things, and it's very, very critical. Take a look at right now, currently as of today, Nigeria has raised over $1 billion in terms of investment. It wasn't like this last year. It wasn't like this last year. So once you are pitching to an investor, ensure that those 5 core pillars, you take them into account. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Patrick. So one of the recurring, I would say, themes that I've heard across these 3 participants is a couple of things. 1, be curious. Ask questions. Identify a problem that you want to solve. And then assess whether that problem will bring money, because that's what it's about, right? How sustainable is that solution that you want to proffer or provide? So thank you very much for sharing your stories. My next, I'm moving to Zigha now. So Zigha, welcome. We've been waiting for you. Zigha is Zia. It's Zia, please. Zia is the Managing Director and CEO of Zia Ayibakuro Limited, ZAL Group. ZAL Group is an enterprise development firm with strong investment in tech-enabled agriculture. He is also a certified Agri-Tech and food business expert with training from institutions across Nigeria, Benin, France, and Italy. Thank you, Zia, for coming. Zia is into soilless farming, and I'm really curious as to what led you to start soilless farming and focus and start it within the Niger Delta. What opportunities did you see in soilless farming for the Niger Delta that led you to start your business?
So basically, for us in ZAL, we've been in business in the last 15 years plus, and we started out providing enterprise development support for small businesses. We started out consulting for PIN Foundation, Growing, MAID, SDN. All these are international organizations that see the need to help with the concept of food production and security in the Niger Delta specifically. So we started out that conversation. We were not really interested in getting involved in agriculture as per becoming active in the value chain opportunities in agriculture. We're more interested in providing basic support services, linkages to markets, linkages to finance, and technical supports. But by 2014, just like you said, that the earlier speakers have said, we saw the opportunities in the Niger Delta. We have an estimate of about 30 million persons in the Niger Delta. An estimate of 30 million persons as of probably 2015 record. And we realized that virtually everything we eat comes from outside the region. A large percentage of what we eat comes from outside the region. And we decided that, okay, if that's the case, how can we step into that gap and see what we could do locally to produce food? Just like you said, the first thing we did was we went for knowledge. I always advise entrepreneurs, when we attend conferences like this, events like this, there's always this concept of just feeling like everything is possible. You can just do anything. It is important to identify that you can't do things without processes and procedures. There are, I don't want to use the word rules, but there are certain things, certain norms you need to observe. You need to understand who is in that sector, what they are doing, what you need to learn from them. And living things grow. Growth takes time. I don't preach overnight success. Every person you see talking on this panel has something he's not saying to you, how they started, the challenges they went through, and all that. So starting out in the Niger Delta, let me put it clear. One of the major challenges we had starting out in the Niger Delta, it's the entitlement mentality. Living in an environment where you decided that we want to do things differently, but somehow, the system around will want to force you to depend on the existing systems that have been created. So you're here thinking about doing any sort of business, whether it's in agriculture, like we are doing. In this environment, you must understand that you're on your own. Don't try to leverage on the existing systems and structures within the entitlement framework. That's what I mean. So systems like BOA, Bank of Industry, you can leverage them, but not the entitlement mentality systems I'm referring to. So what brought us in was the market opportunity we identify. We also identified the fact that farmers, when I introduce myself as a farmer most times, the comment I get is, are you sure? Does farmer look like this? How does farmer look? So jokingly, I will tell somebody, I will just tell people, I say, I keep my head the way my plant grows. Because my plant grew like this. We have to stick them from different, so that's why I keep my hair like that. But yeah, I just do that jokingly. So people keep asking me, how can a farmer look like this? Particularly in the Niger Delta. Because it's a bit strange. Our farming population is around, the age bracket is between 50, 60 and above. That does farm in the Niger Delta. However, we identify the market opportunity. There is a big market opportunity. Now, we also identify the need, that the fact that the Niger Delta hosts, we have major challenges around flooding. We have issues around environmental degradation, oil spill, and all that. It's a major challenge. You can hardly find a region within the Niger Delta that is not having these issues. So one of what we did, was why we went into soilless, that's what I want to say, is that we looked at the fact that the basic reason why you use soil to grow plants, that they taught us in primary agriculture, is basically aeration, holding of water, and all those basic stuff. There are about 4 things. I can't say all of them right now. So now we realized that there is the science component of agriculture. It is called agricultural science. There is a need for that. Farmers plant, they have a lot of post-harvest losses, they have a lot of crazy things that happen in the farm. It's tied to the fact that there is the knowledge gap, the scientific part to drive in agriculture. So we now start looking at alternatives we can use to grow parts. So I will salute our big brother in Soilless Farm Lab, Abuja, Farmer Samson. In fact, we spent time with him. We spent time with Farmer Samson to understand how the soilless agriculture work. We spent time also with Pastor Debo at BIC Farm. We spent time with them also. So from what I'm sharing, understand that what you see today is a function of a lot of things that is going on behind the scene. So when we saw that there's a big market there, we provided the alternative. And how did we do that? We used the waste from rice as a substrate to grow plants. And that's what we currently do. So there's a big market opportunity, and we're leveraging on that, and we're taking it from there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Before I move to the next panelist with the next question, I just wanted to... So last year, I gave the keynotes for the Agri session. And, I was very excited about my keynotes. I came and spoke about my experience in Kaduna. I visited a factory called Tomato Jos. I don't know how many of you know Tomato Jos. They grow tomato and they make it into paste. So I shared my experience. I wanted to, show what the potentials are. She needed some investments for her irrigation facility. And I was trying to share numbers. And I realized that 3/4 of the people in the room didn't understand what I was saying. Because I was speaking, agri-lingo. I was speaking yield. I was speaking hectares. I was speaking irrigation facility. I was speaking, irrigation, solar-powered irrigation, etc. And I realized that the audience was almost lost. And it just, I didn't feel good about it. Not for the fact that they were not getting it, but because we don't understand what the opportunities are. The Niger Delta, I think in terms of agriculture, there's a lot of opportunities. There's a gap, there's a big gap. And if you're wise, you take what these experts have and do your research. He mentioned Farmer Samson Obole. I don't know how many of you. Does anybody know that name? One person, 2 people, 3 people in a room of over 100. Do we know anything about soilless farming? Hands up if you do. There's opportunity. I hope you are seeing that. So I'll move to Deina. Deina, let's talk challenges. So I'm happy also that 3/4 of the panelists, you are children of the Niger Delta. We are not strangers. Deina is doing fantastic in Abuja. I think go on LinkedIn and connect with her. She's doing fantastic work. She has an app that links farmers to that enables market access. And I would like to talk to her about the challenges that she has faced trying to scale her business, trying to scale usage of her Kasoa app.
Okay, thank you again. But just before I come into that, I mean, it's all part of the challenges. I want to say that I think there is a fundamental problem with our education system. And I noticed this as a young person in Uniport. If they want to grade you, they will sort of like, okay, people with very high JAM scores go to medicine and pharmacy and all of those things. And then people with lower JAM scores go to agric and fishery. Let me tell you the truth. As somebody who studied pharmacy and now doing agriculture is more scientific. It is heavy on science. It is something that brings the entire body of knowledge together. In agriculture, there's physics, there's chemistry, there's sales, there's marketing, there's business development, there's economics. There are so many things in agriculture. When I started doing this process, I realized how we have, as a nation, as a people, undermined the very thing that we should have held up high. Africa has over 80 million hectares of arable land available. But we all go to school to do the things that other people have thought about and told us what to do. The major things that we are supposed to be the knowledge holders of, we have neglected. And that is part of the problem in the first place. Secondly, when you tell people that you're in agriculture, there's a stereotype. They just want to box you, this one no follow. I'm telling you, there is wealth in the mud and there's wealth in debt. For some of you, your parents are probably, I don't know, but your parents are probably maybe farming in the village and you're looking at that thing, not knowing that you can actually, with your knowledge in school, package whatever they are doing, even if it's ugu or it is watermelon, package it and export it out of this country and earn a lot of money. In that way, you have maximized the things in your very presence. They say you are leaving what is in your Sokoto to face what is in Sokoto. So for me, coming to agriculture, being somebody who has gone to school and has gained knowledge in working in government parastatals and working in the health sector, also working in fintech, I was looking for how to combine my entire knowledge so that I can bring value to agriculture. The problem I saw was that, first of all, the major challenge in agriculture is that finance is frustrated into the sector. They don't think they can finance farmers. The village, the people, the farmers in the village, they keep becoming poorer and poorer because nobody wants to finance them. They are not on any credit bureau. They don't even have bank accounts. So I'm not blaming the financial institutions. I'm just saying that it is risky. And it is true that it is risky to finance them. Now, when we came on board, we wanted to bring them, to make them more financially investable. Because if we don't do that, we will suffer. Today, you are not seeing food. Food is getting higher. You don't know the reason why the supply is frustrated. It's because that farmer does not have money to farm again for you to eat. So as much as you are in Lagos, you are in Abuja, you are in the city in Port Harcourt, it is that farmer who is in the village that is responsible for your upkeep today. And you know, some of us just like it to do, okay, yeah, I love AI, I am an AI, I'm a tech-driven person, but when it comes to agriculture, we had to make it really granular. And now what are the challenges that we faced? Things like technology adoption. Because we have neglected them, we did not educate them, so bringing technology to them will further force, you know, they will look at you, oh, me, I just want to eat every day. That is what the farmer has been reduced to. He just wants to sell his commodities and eat. He doesn't even know if he's making money or not. And let me tell you the real scenario today. Nigeria is importing food. You can grow food. These farmers have farmed last season. They have brought their food to the market. So because the government is importing food, they cannot sell at a competitive price. And so if they cannot sell, they cannot buy fertilizer to farm again in the next season. So as much as we are all happy saying that the food prices have reduced, the people who are responsible for making sure that we have food for the next season do not have a means. So we as agri-tech companies, we go there. See, what I can do without tech. What in agriculture has an advantage because what you can do without tech. But technology helps us to make our processes more efficient. When I look at those farmers, in the next 10 years, if we don't give them technology, we would have killed our entire food system. We would have killed it beyond repair. That's one thing. So we as the agri people, being their face, now you're seeing me, okay, I'm in the city because I can afford to, because I am knowledgeable enough to be here. But then everything I do here translates to a farmer that is on the field every day. So the challenges they have, technology adoption, they were not educated, finance is frustrated because nobody thinks that they ought to be there. If we have more young people taking up the tax, going to your villages, where you have the right of jurisdiction to do certain things, to educate these farmers, even teaching them maths, teaching them basic English, or teaching their children, because they are transferring skills, but they are only transferring farming skills. The other things that border around farming, they may not know. So that means their farming will not transcend beyond their local government. Right? These are some of the challenges. I just want to stop here. So now, no.
Thank you, Deina, for that insight. There's wealth in the mud. You've heard it from Deina. There's wealth in the mud. And even as she was talking and, you know, listing out all the challenges, all I kept hearing was there's opportunity. There's opportunity. How do we de-risk farmers? How do we build capacity for smallholder farmers? You know, so there's opportunity. When you hear challenges and people are talking about problems, take a pen and a paper and start writing it down. What are the opportunities in this problem that this person is telling me? So let's move to Luther. We are still on challenges. Luther, you expanded from Lagos, if I'm not mistaken, into Abuja and Port Harcourt. I want you to tell us, as briefly as you can, how these challenges differ. The Abuja challenge, I know they're different, because Niger Delta, we are unique. The Abuja challenge and expanding into Port Harcourt. What challenges did you face in these two areas? And then how did you address these challenges?
Okay, thank you very much. So I think the co-panelist has mentioned a few things. It's been, I mean, we are even in Ibadan as well. And out of the 4 cities that we're in, Port Harcourt seems to be most difficult. And the reason is that in the cities we're in, we serve our customers using a farmer network. Here, we've not been able to find reliable farmer networks. And it's so important, it's so tragic that Port Harcourt has out of the 4 cities we serve, Port Harcourt has the highest cost of food. From our data, you spend more on food than even Lagos, and everybody thinks Lagos is where it's more expensive. So that strikes a lot of chord. I mean, that speaks volumes to what the co-panelists have been saying around what can be done here. if you are able to grow food substantially, especially the very highly consumed food items here, you can take over this local market because you would be cheaper than somebody bringing it all the way from Kano and all that. I know there's also weather, there's, soil types and all of these things that affect, but there are technologies like they've mentioned around soilless farming that could still achieve the same thing. So I would encourage anybody who is here who has interest in that to really look into that. It's a lot of opportunity. But back to the question. So, challenges are similar, but can be, different locations have peculiarities. So Lagos was our first, and Lagos was very tough, but it was doable because there was an encouraging ecosystem from the wholesalers that we started with to moving to farmers and all that. They are all available, so that made it quite easy. But easy is not the word anyway, because it took us years to really crack that. So what we do at PricePally is enable everybody here could buy whatever they need to buy, and we gather that that request and match to the best possible supply. So over time, we now have data where farmers are farming ahead of what our consumers would consume. For example, the next 2-3 months of supply for tomatoes, peppers, and all that, we have farmers already farming for them. So that kind of helped us. So when we get to other cities, creating that ecosystem is number one challenge, and that creating the ecosystem also comes with the problems that Deina was mentioning, which is financing those farmers, giving them the right, being able to have them farm rightly to your standards and all of those things. So different challenges, different environments, but it's been a wonderful ride, and hopefully we're able to figure out Port Harcourt in a couple of years to come. Months to come or years, depends.
Years to come. Thank you, Patrick. My question to Luther. Given your involvement in various initiatives, how can we use technology to transform, to empower young people? I know this is a weighted question and we don't have the time, but if you could just give us 2 points. How can we use technology to empower young people and transform agriculture in the Niger Delta?
Thank you. So like I said, the government needs to also digitalize our land ownership. It's very, very key. Now, another thing the government needs to do is the government needs to create tax incentives. Tax holiday for people that are interested in going into this sector that are tagged as non-sexy. If you are not talking about the fintech, the health tech, or the edu-tech, they feel that you're not doing something really relevant. But I tell you that the agricultural sector has more blue ocean potentials than even this sector. Because everybody here needs food. You must eat, whether you like it or not. Before you write a code, you must eat. Before you do anything, you must eat. So so these are, if you look at the potential in the agricultural sector, people just, another thing we need to do is, apart from creating tax incentive, the government needs to create certain zones that are agro-innovation zones. You can decide to say, okay, Port Harcourt, 2-3 local governments are agro-innovation zones. Those zones, you create certain amenities that will aid agri to actually thrive in those particular areas. So that's what I feel the government needs to do, and also the youth need to really embrace this, because I'm from the Niger Delta, so I can say some certain things. Very soon, there will be no oil. Oil will not have any value. As of today, the price of Brent crude has dropped to less than $65, which was even the benchmark for federal government budget. So what it means is that if the war in Ukraine and Russia is solved, the price of crude oil is going to crash further. So what he's telling you is that it will get to a point in which the oil becomes so irrelevant. So we need to start embracing other sectors that are going to make us sufficient in everything that we need to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Patrick. He's mentioned a few key things that I think are very important for all of us. Digital literacy, enabling government enablement, the right policy environments, Agri-Tech hubs, and 3 other points that are very important and critical for us to develop as a people and transform the Agri-Tech space and the agriculture space in the Niger Delta. So final word, Zigha. Zigha, what's your final word? If you were to say 2 things, what are the 2-3 important things that a young person or anybody who wants to set up a soilless farm, what are the 3 things that they need to do? Please, in 1 minute, please.
Okay, let me just borrow from what my colleague said. He mentioned issues around the difficulties being able to get credible farmers to be able to raise data that you can work with. That's primarily because of the Niger Delta is still an emerging conversation when it comes to agriculture. So we need to pay more attention to deliberately build systems and institutions that will help this young formative process we're trying to set up to be more effective. Then also to add to what he said, you see, for every young person in this place, I don't want you to leave this place, we talk about agriculture, and you feel that it's something you cannot relate with. It's something you cannot do. It's too big. It's too very massive. So let me try as much as I can to just give you something you can go back with, to relate to what you can do as a young person in this place. So say, for example, there is fruit markets in Port Harcourt. There are several locations. There are several farmers' markets. All of these markets in Port Harcourt require pepper. Pepper is a daily conversation in every household. And like he said, young people, we should embrace agriculture. If you're able to raise as low as 200,000, 100,000, you're able to buy seeds, good F1 seeds, you'll be able to start a pepper farm in your house, and you can comfortably start producing 20 kg, 10 kg on a weekly basis with the right knowledge. Having said that, there's something we do in ZAL that I would like to share. And I think currently we just onboarded new people. Some of them even came in from Port Harcourt to Bayelsa because our farms are in Bayelsa. So we have a program that is called Agro-Yield. It's driving agriculture with technology in our greenhouses. So we are growing. We have over 40 greenhouses that we're growing, and they're all soilless. Now, Agro-Yield is a 3-month intensive program that is free for young people. So if you're in this place, you want to learn soilless agriculture, we can't teach you here, but we can give you the opportunity to learn in our facility. We provide you accommodation, we provide you stipends, you stay in the facility for 3 months, and you learn for free. If you're able to meet up all these things, you can start. The next set, probably I'm sure will start by next month. We just started one set 2 days ago. So that's one practical thing we can do to help you. Fantastic. My final word is this. Nobody is coming to help you as a young person. You'll be the one to help yourself. So agriculture gives you an opportunity where you could create a future for yourself. Like she said, on our team we have scientists, we have MedLab, we have a lot of engineers working with us. Yes. It's not just tilling the ground, but there's money in tilling the ground, like she said. Yes. So I wish all of you well, and I look forward to seeing you being part of Agro-Yield. Thank you.
Before, I want all of us to say final words, but I just want to ask this question. Did anybody here study agriculture?
Not at all. I didn't
study. I studied economics. I have a background. Luther, what did you study? Business admin, pharmacy, accounting?
Political science.
Political science. Please, a round of applause for us. So, final word, Patrick, 30 seconds, go.
Okay, my final word is African next unicorn can come from the agri sector. And it's going to be from our soil and code. And I believe the Niger Delta can lead that revolution if we are ready. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Patrick. Deina?
Yes, I want to say 2 things. First of all is that they said 60% of our population is employed by agriculture. That means 6 people in 10 people. Please ask your neighbor, are you a farmer? No, because that was before, not now. So if Nigeria is going to feed itself, we need 6 people out of every 10 people to actually be farming. So do you understand the gap that we have? It's a huge problem, and it's estimated to be about $1 trillion by 2030. We are 6 years or 5 years away from 2030. So the next agripreneurs have to come from somewhere. So are you the one or not? Secondly, we all want to be like Elon Musk. Elon Musk has his farm that he's farming, right? And that is digital technology, because people have taken responsibilities to make sure that he is where he is today. Where is your farm? right? It doesn't have to be agriculture, but you have to leverage on something. There are no blueprints everywhere. Don't wait for the government. You can do it from the back of your house, from your villages, and you will become a globally recognized person. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deina. A round of applause for Deina. Luther?
Yeah, I'll just add that despite the challenges in the space and all the downsides of it, things are changing. There are a lot of young people in the space that are doing really good work, and in a couple of years from now, the story will change. We had something like this about 2-3 weeks ago, a summit bringing together our farmers and all that. We have farmers who work with us who are millionaires. Like, they earn a lot of money. So this is going to change. It just takes time, but it is the right time for you to get in the space. And there are so many opportunities there, like so many spots in the value chain that you can pick up and really develop to become something. Because everything as of today is at ground zero. But in a couple of years now, you see that people have owned some spaces there, and this is about the right time to get into agri. Thank you.
Thank you very much to our esteemed panel. I would just like to add this. Every challenge, within every challenge, there's an opportunity. I've said opportunity on this stage, I think maybe 50 times. Within every challenge, there's an opportunity. When we are having conversations like this, not just on this platform, everywhere we go, where we're having conversations, our attitude towards things not working is not to complain endlessly. Your complaint is not going to solve the problem. What is going to solve the problem is you using your brain. Uber was someone thinking about the problem of moving from point A to point B. Every solution you see today it came from someone's mind. So after all said and done, what problem are you solving to drive agriculture, not just in the Niger Delta, but Nigeria at large, and even Africa? Very soon, I'm hoping that PricePally Kasua will start seeing it in Kenya, in South Africa. That's the goal. That's the goal. So what problem will you solve? Thank you very much. We hope you've enjoyed the panel.